Okay, uh, recording is in progress, so that means we're beginning.
Going on.
We have Son Brave and Django Supreme here.
Peace, peace.
Yeah, I just connected with these guys. Was it last night or 2 nights ago, I think? And
Yeah, I got your email. It was about like 2 days ago, really.
yeah, and you know, as I was just telling you guys, like. I've been working on a series kind of about like authoritarianism and how artists, whether they know it or not, are getting squeezed and censored. And I'm sure you guys have battled that in the past. Every artist has really, but now it's kind of getting ramped up to the stage where like you don't know if something that you say in a song or if you say on social media might, result in you getting kidnapped by some dude with a fucking mask on and thrown in a car and deported and everything.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
so my goal here, just to give you a little bit of background, I'm a music journalist and I've been doing this for like don't date myself, but 28 years. And I just
It's
feel like,
all good, man.
but I feel like it's just so important to talk with artists because they're like, you guys are on the ground, you guys know what's going on, and you communicate directly with people in a way that like people on television and newscasters don't. So um, it's really my goal to hear, to listen to you and to listen to your experiences um, of what you've been going through, and then also your efforts, because it sounds like you got some really cool shit that you're up to in trying to do good in the world. And so I
Word.
think that's really important to have that inspirational angle too. So why don't you guys just, for starters, if you wouldn't mind, just like, kind of introduce yourself and introduce like this project that you're up to.
Word. So, I'm Son Brave. That's Shango Supreme, where I guess you could say one half of the collective that's called POWAMOV. And you know, I'll speak for myself and then I'll let Shango go. But I'm an artist, I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I graduated from Morgan State University in 2020, but I've always been making music since I was little. My brother's, a DJ. And that's how I first was introduced to hip hop. My first memory is like of Wu-Tang Cream. So, I've always been conscious of not only the effect that music has, but the power that it has for people who are outcasts. Because growing up, I felt like a loner, like a black sheep, So, I always connected with hip hop because I felt like it was speaking directly to me.
Mhm.
And yeah, this collective, I decided, to link up with really Bari, Shango, and Rodney. They were the three other artists who resonated with what I was trying to do because growing up in Baltimore, there's a lot of things have changed now,
Mhm.
but growing up, it was a lot of violence and it was a lot of things that a lot of people don't have to deal with. Let me just put it like that,
Right.
and especially being older now that I've been able to travel the world and interact with so many different people and cultures, it's interesting to see, and to have that perspective when I go back home, and I felt like Power Move was the way to express, where I've come from and what I've learned and what I can pass on to the next generation. Because I do a lot of work, my professional work with kids, as a mentor. So
It's
yeah,
awesome.
that's my story, and that's why I came, together with these other artists for Power Move.
Yeah. And Power Move has a real specific focus on violence too, right? Like
Yeah,
anti-violence.
yeah. All it's really about raising awareness, of the different types of violence that plague our communities. So, one of the things that in Baltimore specifically that can be highlighted is what's called the black butterfly. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't.
Well, the black butterfly is really like this outline of Baltimore, and it's really shaped by like the policies, different policies like redlining and things
Red
of that
line.
nature.
Okay.
Whereas like you can literally draw on the map and it looks like a butterfly, where this is where, certain populations live. And that's where the black butterfly came from, because it's like, oh, if you're within that black butterfly, you are statistically going to be at these certain disadvantages. So that is a form of violence. That is a way to prevent people from improving their lives. And the music that we create is really a reflection of that. It's telling people stories, people that wouldn't otherwise have a voice. And that's really why we want to create an album, because it's stories that need to get out of there.
Yeah.
It needs to be told so that we can change those conditions. And I do believe that the administration, with Mayor Scott in Baltimore, is, he's doing a lot, and especially with his, he has a organization called Monse, Monse, and they do a lot of hands-on work, which has actually improved the community. And because of that, there's a pushback from, and this is another form of violence, where you have a state's attorney, who all of a sudden decides not to withdraw support on certain things, because, hey, you guys are really showing that, our job is not really getting things done. You guys are doing it on your own almost. It's like, hey, we can't have that. You know what I mean? So these are the forms of violence outside of, actual, gun violence. And, even, and these situations are really fostered by the systems that we live in. So it's raising awareness to that. It's raising awareness to the people who are actually trying to bring positive change, to these situations. And that's why, I believe in POWAMOV. That's why I link with Shango and Rodney and Barry, because they have different angles to it that enhance my own angle.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
I love how I really like that you kind of break down the term violence, and perceive it from different angles, because it's not contained just to blood pouring out of somebody's belly or whatever. It's much more than that. It's aggression, and um it's oppression, in a lot of ways too. I would think with the butterfly situation, would that also, in redlining, um, how are people able to, how is somebody able to get out of that and then get like an education? Can they get a grant, or can they get relocated, or move into another part of the city that will allow them to, like, I don't know, do you guys have magnet schools or anything like that, or like,
Well, yeah, no. Like I said, I do think the programs in Baltimore's case specifically, the programs that the mayor runs, like Monty, like there are grants for creatives.
yeah,
Even like POWAMOV itself is something. The Black Arts District is a good organization that supports the community. It's really about the community work,
uh,
and I
yeah,
think Shango could speak on it, because that's how I even met Shango, was through a community organization called the Black Running Organization.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
So I met Ronnie through the Black Runner organization.
uh,
And through Rodney, I met Son Brave, and that's how I got on this project. So, Black Runner Organization. I mean, we just a group of Black folks. We just run through Baltimore, and like we could see, you will literally see like all the stuff that Son Brave was talking about, like literally like with your own eyes as like we run through the city. So yeah, I'll formally introduce myself. Shango.
yeah,
I'm a rapper. I really am from the DMV, but I live out here in Baltimore now. Thank God. I love it out here. Prior to living out here in Baltimore, I lived in like Reading, PA. So I don't know if you know about Reading and Baltimore, but like the two places are very similar.
okay,
Especially like with like the architecture of the city and the way that everything's laid out. So like I feel like very much at home here. And then in terms of like my music, I think my music is a therapeutic outlet for me.
yeah,
And like with that, a lot of the stuff that we experience as Black people is going to show up in that music.
sure, sure. And do you feel like incumbent upon yourselves when you're making your music to have a message in it, or are you just simply conveying your own experiences and allowing the listener to kind of relate to that? Like, are you, do you sort of do the dance where you're like, I don't want to be too preachy. I don't want to, moralize, but at the same time, I want to, make sure that people are getting something out of it.
Yeah, that is a struggle. That is a struggle being an artist, especially one that I've dealt with, throughout my whole career, really creative career, because you
Yeah.
know, it's so many things that you learn and that you want to express, but at the same time, like you said, you don't want to come off as preachy because that'll turn people off from the message. So
Right.
it's really about being able to relate it, and also being able to relate it in a way that's like what is it, complex simplicity. So like,
Hmm. Huh.
just being able to have like a message that people can, the everyday person can understand, but still have it be layered.
Right.
So that's how I approach things.
Yeah. That's really cool. To be totally candid, I'm more of like a rock guy. I listen mostly to rock music. I have interviewed um Nas, Jurassic 5, DMX, who else have I interviewed? A bunch of the did I say Jurassic 5 already? Yeah, Warren G. So I've had conversations, but like the reason I mention this is because like a lot of the music that I listen to in the communities that are around that music and who go to the shows, there's just not there's not really a sense of like community obligation. And I think there used to be in like the punk movement in like the 80s, but it's really been lost. And I'm wondering like I'm really fascinated to hear from you guys about how you feel like your music is so connected to social justice and to making a positive difference in your community, and why you feel that is, if it's a matter of simply wanting to give back, or if or if it is what drives you as an artist as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do you want to answer some of the thing?
Yeah. So with me, I just think music is like an opportunity to like essentially give back. So obviously you have like, your process where you're kind of reflecting on like all your experiences stuff, and like that like becomes like the actual track or whatever. But then like you can also like build like all this stuff like around the music so that like you're actually like physically tangibly giving stuff back to the community. So for example, I'm dropping like a tape, a track, a whole bunch of stuff. Like it's a whole bunch of mediums, right? But
Yeah.
there's also like a concept, like a show that's gonna be accompanying the drops. And like at this show, like Power Move is gonna be there. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna tear up the stage. But like there's also gonna be like community organizations in there that kind of talk about like what they do for the for in the community and whatnot. So for example, we have like Bro coming, the Black Runner organization. So they can like come out, they can encourage like people, to do something healthy with their body, right? Because even taking care of yourself, of your health, and like this environment, especially an environment like Baltimore, which is like kind of like engineered to like kind of like, make it hard for people to have healthy lives and stuff. That's something that like can help out. We
That's
have
another form. Just a side note. That's another form of violence because,
Violence.
like
Yeah.
food deserts.
yeah,
Like that, not having access to quality health for your body, food like that. That is definitely a form of violence.
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. So we got like other people that kind of just like do more, are a bit more involved. We have like, I guess, socialites, if that's what you want to call them, also coming. So I'm hoping that like if, like you put a bunch of atoms in the room, and like like at some point they're gonna have to collide, and hopefully I hope that like results in some kind of butterfly effect where something positive happens. They're like, hey, we should link up, we should do something. And like they're talking about like whatever they're doing like 10 years later, and like, oh, it all started because we met like at this show. That's what I want to happen at that show. So that's how I try to go about bringing change about in the community via the music, the art form.
And at those events,
January 17th.
I'm sorry.
January 17th, yeah.
Okay. Um, but at those events, like it sounds like it's kind of seamless, like people aren't jarred by like having just seen a performance and then somebody else coming in on stage and talking to them about something. It seems like it's all kind of
It's usually like a
intertwined.
host. Yeah, it's usually like a host for because like I don't know if Shan got did you get a grant from the Black Arts District?
I did not. I did
Well,
not.
it's the we kind of all it's kind of all the same circle though.
Okay.
So like and if you come to like an event, this is especially because it's at MAP. Like the MAP building, like it's glass, so it's like you can see in. Like it's really inviting for you. If you're in Baltimore, you have to experience at least one of our events. You know what I mean? But yeah, like it's an intimate setting, and you really get to feel the music. You get to connect with the performance, and with the people who are there.
Okay. So on the EP, um, is it going to be reflective of one of those events where you like have a song? I have listened to the EP, but I mean, like, is it like a song and then somebody saying a message and then going into the next song, or is it more like the EP is just about the music and then you read the sort of ancillary materials that come with it, and that is the message that's kind
Well,
of
this in particular on January 17th is Shango's event. So it is originally his event. It is the first time that Power Move is going to perform 10 days live. So
Yeah.
10 days is the track that we're particularly focused on because we feel that first we have to introduce who we are and our stories and how they connect.
right.
And it's going to be a central element that plays into the album because we
Okay.
want to tell a story at the end of the day. So
Okay.
these are already connections that we have established. Like I'm inviting my people, and it's really to unite the separate crowds because this is something that's a
Right.
new idea.
Right.
I've been myself. I've gone under different monikers. At one point, I was the Black Sun. There was another point where I was Sun Zulu. But I've been Son Brave since the pandemic. Like that change around 22,
Hmm.
and that's the vision that I'm going with. And I feel that I need to connect because like it's still people who don't understand what's going on. Being an artist, sometimes you have visions, but you know, I would say joining it to the social cause does help people to understand the vision a little bit more. But at the end of the day, uh, me personally, I am an enigma. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, my background is the universe.
Right. Yeah, right. I follow. So this is going to be kind of like the formal introduction of the project in public.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Right on. Okay, cool. Um, so you mentioned that, people might not know who you are, and what you're about. What, unless you've already mentioned it so far in the conversation, what do you want people to take away from the experience and from what you say?
I think the main thing to take away from it is that you can do great things when you drop a lot of the pretenses that you have and you connect with people that you otherwise would look down on. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like people that you have prejudices against, you really have a lot more in common with, and you can
That's
accomplish a lot of things if you just drop those pretenses. So the
Yeah.
story that we're telling is really about coming together, really at the end of the day, to achieve, positive things and for not just our community, but for like-minded communities.
right.
So it's really it's even though it is about violence, it's also really about peace and unity and
Right.
love, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If
Because
we don't have those things, then really society it decays into anarchy,
yeah.
and then nobody is safe, and that's at the end of the day we want to come together, as civilized people,
Yeah.
but here's what happens if you don't do XYZ.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you want to add something else?
Yeah, no, so that whole coming together in itself is like I'd say that's also a form of resistance, right? So like those and like I'm about to dive into like my whole little head canon here. So, if I'm going too off, I was talking to this about Bari. during the video shoot that we did yesterday. But pretty much what we was talking about was how like kind of like in like whatever world, right? There's always like some kind of like othering of like some group of people. But like once you get like that other group of people out, like there becomes like a new other, right? So like in like a white supremacist world, right? It's like black people or like Latinos or whatever. All right, well let's say like you get all those people out. Well then eventually it's gonna be going after like poor people, and then like
That's exactly
it'll
right.
be poor white people, right? It'll be middle class white people. It'll be like, you know what I'm saying, until like it's just like 1% of the 1% of the 1% that's left. So in us coming together, right? Granted, we are all different people, but we're also all like black men, right? So that's like the first level, right? You want to just try to have people unite, like regardless, like have them throw away whatever differences that they have, and hopefully understand that like there's more benefit to like kind of looking over to the person on your left and right and realizing like they're also a human being than trying to like idolize or like be like whoever is like above you or in front of you.
Very well said. Yeah, very well said. Um, do you feel like there's more urgency now? Because I do want to kind of, if you guys don't mind, kind of segue into what's happening now, nationally and also in Baltimore too. But of which you can educate me some more. But like, do you feel like there's more of an urgency that community really has to come together because we're at this point now, this flashpoint where like you know, crazy shit's happening where you have military going to cities and you have people getting deported and all that. Like, is there even more of a kind of fire lit under
A
your
hundred
ass?
percent, most definitely, bro. Because
Yeah.
like, so pretty much like the way I understand it is like we kind of like moving our backward in time in terms of like whatever position like the government has like against like the general population, and as such like we should also be moving backward in time too. It doesn't make sense for us to be using like a tactic that we know doesn't work, right? Like us being divided is not gonna help. It's just not gonna help. So hopefully we as a collective realize that and like take steps towards like being more unified as like a community.
Right. Yeah. And are you sensing that urgency in your community? Like, are you sensing the need that
Oh
people
yeah,
have? Mhm.
definitely. Especially I think the pandemic has really changed a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the changes that we see, especially in Baltimore, but nationwide, have to deal with with this element and this shift. I think there's a shift that's been happening, and especially with AI. And I hate to say it and frame
That
it in
shit.
that way because it's not actually AI in the classical sense, at least how I was introduced to it growing up. But it is a force that the powers that be are trying to replace every facet of life with, and
Yeah.
you know that is something that if we don't come together, like I don't know I don't see any positive outcome because
Yeah.
if every sector of society is replaced, like what are we gonna do? Like it's just it's mind boggling. But
Yeah.
especially as an artist because you're basically telling me that I'm worthless and that we don't care what happens to you. You're already telling me that really with the streaming rates. So
Yeah, it is. It almost feels deliberate, like it's too large of a concept to wrap your head around. Like it was almost designed that way to make you feel powerless, because it's like, when you hear the tech bros and stuff talk about like how they have this like religious zealot, like zealotry when they talk about like we have to do this. Like I don't care any other political issue, like we have to be first with AI. And it's like the way they talk about it's so absolutist and it's like they don't allow for questioning. And then when they do get asked questions about like, well, where's it going to go? They're like, we don't know, but we know we have to be first because China's
Yeah.
going to beat us. And
Yeah.
it's just fucked up, It's yeah. Um, but I hear you, like as a writer, I feel replaceable, and pretty much everyone I interact with nowadays feels like replaceable. It's crazy, and then you have like not to get on a tangent, but you got like these billionaires building these like underground bunkers. And it's like, well,
Right.
what are they planning for? Like,
Yeah.
what do they know that we don't? Um, so okay, so tell me about like, because this is a really this is a really engaging conversation because a lot of times I talk with like, like younger like rock musicians who are just like feeling really depressed about like, oh, I don't know if I can write a song about Palestine because, they might put my name on a piece of paper or something like that and come after me.
Yeah.
So like it's great to talk with you guys because you guys are so invigorated and you got so much energy. What sort of a plan do you have? Like, and I don't know if we need to get into like the specific tactics and like dynamics of it, but like what do you want to see happen? And going back to what you were saying, Son Brave is like you mentioned that some strategies have failed in the past, and we don't want to repeat those. So what is it that you feel like is kind of like your special sauce, I suppose?
Special sauce is the music. I honestly, personally, I think that because I work, and I'm not just saying this because I work for the Friends of the Children, which is a nonprofit organization, but I really do believe in their model of mentorship
Yeah.
because I think that intervening in, especially between the ages of when you're in fifth grade to like really fifth grade, between fifth and seventh grade are like critical ages. But I think that that model it would allow if it were to expand because they are headquartered in Portland. They do like I'm in New York, but it's just not in like it's not in Baltimore, which is my hometown. So like these are things that I'm actively working towards, and I think that Power Move, especially with the music, is provocative enough that it can spread that message and maybe bring that because that's concrete change. That's something that I can say, hey, I was able to bring this program to my hometown, and like it's changing people's lives. It's a proven model, and I'm not just being abstract with, even though the music is, I love that, and that's where I release my abstract creativity. But
Yeah.
something that's tangible, I think that that would be with what I'm doing with Friends of the Children, and if I could bring that to Baltimore through Power Move, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get the sense like when you do shows that like it's a similar feeling to like going to a protest? Like there's this like it's almost indescribable, but like just to be with people and you know that everybody doesn't think exactly the same way that you do, but you all showed up, and you showed up together and you're with people who you don't know. And it's just like to be there and that can't be taken away so easily, maybe,
No, you're right. It is almost like a communal like a religious almost experience, but
Yeah.
it's not religion. I mean the religion is music. Like I love performing live. It's a different kind of a rush.
Right.
When I was the Black Sun, I was touring all over the country with there was a group called Jay Davy and another artist called Blue, who's a rapper, and that was some of the best times of my life. And I was just really getting started out, but like I look back on those memories so fondly, and
Yeah.
like shows in like Pittsburgh, places that you don't even think that there are black people, let alone that they love hip hop, but like they do love it, and they'd be singing the words, every word, like I had people. It was Seven Springs, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and like it was like a ski show. And the kid he came up to me. He was like, "You're Black Son," and he took out his iPod because this was like 2011, and
Uh-huh.
he flipped through his music and he was like Black Son. And I was like, "Whoa!" Like that's how I knew like the power of music.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's my answer.
that's awesome. Anything else to add?
I just kind of co-sign everything that he said. But I think the only thing that I would kind of add, I guess, is like I kind of would like to move away from kind of I guess being like so over like relying on I guess the government to like kind of do like a lot of these things. even if it's like for funding, right?
Yeah,
I feel like as a community, we should try to take like a little bit more personal responsibility, not to put everything on the individual, because there's definitely like a lot of stuff at play that makes it so that people don't even have like the attention spans to like, you know, properly look into like whatever it is that they have to, so that like it's being set up correctly.
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so I hate when these videos get cut off. We have about 4 minutes left, but I do want to ask you one more question, and hope we can have more conversations if you guys would be up for that. But what do you say to younger people who come up to you who are feeling really like hopeless in this time? And what kind of advice or reassurance do you give them? Um, when they ask you like when they're in despair and they're like, what can I do? You know?
Yeah. I actually had a situation like that last week with one of my mentees. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's in fifth grade, and I actually was stopping by his school just to get his report card because they wanted me to get his report card, and it was like some divine timing type of stuff, man. Like I walked in and he had just got in trouble for he got into a fight, and like I was able to talk to him, like just talking to him calmed him down, but just talking to him and seeing like because like he doesn't have like the issue is that we don't give our, and again it starts young, we don't give our kids the platform to express themselves, so it becomes like all this pent up frustration and rage that they begin to lash out and they don't know how to cope with it because like the adults in their lives they either if they're there they don't care or they're not setting the right example or they're not there. So I just that's for me that's the way. I would rather be someone who cause I'm stoic. Like I feel like if I pass that stoicism down to them, like if you just handle a situation a certain way and then remove yourself from the situation, like that's the kind of stuff I tell people, like how to manage their anger and situations, their emotions, things like that.
Yeah. Shango, anything to add to
Man, honestly, if you're in a bad situation, it's gonna suck ass either way. But like, at least you're not going out like a punk, man. Because
that?
it's, I understand on the depression front, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, from the way you phrased it, it sounds like you have like two entities in a situation, and one is trying to take advantage of the other. And then like in that case, like I can't tell the other person not to do anything except for fight, even
Mm.
if it's like, you know what I'm saying, like sprinkle some wisdom on top of it, but like the main idea is gonna be fight back.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah. It very much feels like at the moment we're in, everywhere, it's like this fight or flight thing. Like, it's clear as day if you have the
Yeah,
courage, stand up,
yeah,
say something, or if you're just gonna kind of look the other way or pretend that things aren't happening, and that's reminiscent of Nazi Germany, which is a whole nother conversation we can have at some other point in
Yeah.
time. You know?
wish
Yeah.
Barry was on here, man, because he had a line on the EP where
Right.
he's like ice dystopian ice rage, like land of the ice, it's like the land of the ice age is the
Plan
dystopian
of
ice
action.
rage.
Science
Like
race.
like man, he
Bruh,
had
it's
a,
crazy. I know that bar that you're talking about, but I can't remember that shit in
it's on
full.
it is what it is. It's like the last track on the EP. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the other thing, man. Like these brothers, they inspire me with my pen, man, like and being creative. So
Yeah.
the EP power move, power move, power move.
Fact, there's some bars on there, man.
I'll get the links and I'll put that in the article and I'll emphasize the EP. And guys, thank you so much. I know this is short notice and I've really learned a lot from you and I hope to talk with you again soon. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for your time. All right.
I appreciate you for your time, man.
Yeah, it's been a
Likewise.
pleasure. Yeah, really nice to
Have
meet you.
a good night.
All
All
right.
right, peace.
Take care, guys.